Hey, I've gotten a lot of questions over the year how to measure glass. This is an important question because it'll save you a lot of money if you get it right the first time. Because double glazing and stuff, you cannot cut them once they're done, they're done. They're at the size they're supposed to be and there's nothing you can do about it. So if you get it wrong, you need to order a new one, which is costly. If we end up getting our measurements wrong when we measure double glazing especially, or tempered glass, it could be a costly mistake. Because double glazing are basically 2 or more, could be 3 layers of glass, and it looks like this. To keep them from fogging, they are sealed up really well. So if you get it wrong, you can't cut this to size again. This is garbage and you have to order a new one, which could be costly, and we would definitely want to avoid that. So there are a couple of things we'll go through today, how to measure them, what are certain things to look out for, what are the common mistakes, and what are the things that can guarantee us that we always get it right. So yeah, let's just dive right into it. Okie dokie. We'll measure this one. When measuring glass, of course, you need something to measure with. You need something to write your measurements down on and something to write with, obviously. So let's see. Now I've chosen to measure just from there to here. Obviously the glass is bigger than this because you can see that it goes in there further on both sides, and of course down and up too. Otherwise there'd be nothing to hold it in place. So with this one in particular, sometimes depending on the angle here, but this one is 41 and a half. We'll say 41 and a half. So if we were to write down 141 and a half, this is centimeters. We know that it goes in here, and we know that it goes in there. And this metal thing here is flush with this. This is the metal thing that we see in between double glazing. You see it right there. So then we know that this black stuff right here goes in where we can't see it, behind this trim right here. Sorry for the lighting. We know that if we put 2.5 centimeters on this measurement, so this will be 0. That one goes up there. 4. Now, if we make the glass 144, the measurements we took was 141.5, and we need to add 2.5 centimeters. This is centimeter, by the way. So if we did it in millimeters, it would be 1440 millimeters. It doesn't make any difference. It's the same measurement. Then it will always fit. It will always fit if you put these here. So measure what you see of the glass and add 2.5 centimeters and it will fit. And obviously we do that the other way too. In this case it's a little different here. So now we would see that it's 136, and we'll do plus 2.5, which is 138.5. So the glass that we need to order for here is 1440 times 138.5 centimeters. Then we've added 2.5 centimeters, because remember this way it was 141.5. Here it was 136.0. Let's write that down just for the hell of it. Plus 2.5. 138.5. So these are the measurements we need to order this glass, and then it will fit. Some people also like to measure from the edge there instead. where you see the trim stops. You can also do that and deduct from the number. That's also a way you can do it. The lighting here was terrible. Let's see if we see it any better here. I'm sorry about the lighting. Let me try to find it another place where the lighting's a little better. It's more clear to see here. Right? You see that line. So the last time we chose to measure from here, you could also measure from here. And do the same on the other side, obviously, and then you have to retract. Then you retract 8 millimeters. So let's say all the way over from right here to right there on the other side. Let's make the number easy. Let's say it was 140. Then you would want to order the glass 139.2 centimeters. Because you take 8 millimeters or 0.8 of a centimeter off the measurements. Then you're also good. So that's another way of doing it. And obviously, if you take the trim off, you can measure the glass itself. So these are like, if you do what I said and measure what you see of the glass, just what you see of the glass, either from the inside or the outside, preferably from the inside, then you can add 2.5 and you'll get it right every time. But then there's another thing to be aware of. How thick is it? Well, that's a little different, because you sort of have to be a little trained to see it, or take the trim off and measure. But like we see with all double glazing, they have this metal thing in between. You can see it here. Sorry about that. You can see it here. Here's just a little sample of a double glazed window. And you can see how they work. There's the metal thing that we pointed at. And they're sandwiched together like this. So when one of these layers break, you have to change both layers, because they're basically, it's one glass. This is to seal it so that it stays sealed, so you don't get any moisturizer in between or fog. When they become punctured, they get foggy inside. So if we see here, we have this one where this is 15 millimeters, the thing in between these glasses. And this is sort of important, because you also need to know how thick the glass is. And we see again here, here's another one, that's 15 millimeters, but we look here, it's way smaller. Here it's 9 millimeters only. And on this one, it's 15. So that's also a thing to be aware of. If we were to walk in here, there's a triple glazed window. So I have to climb a little bit here, guys. And you see here, there are 2 spacers, and both of them are 18 millimeters. But enough about that stuff. I'll show you how you can figure it out. Well, you can't really measure it unless the glass is broken and you can fit your measure in there, but I'll show you something. Since there really are no way of measuring it in between here, unless one of the glasses are broken, then you can stick, of course, something in here and measure it with. But luckily, a lot of them will say this writing here. Like right here, you see there, you have the measurements right there. And then we'll say, in this case, 6 millimeter laminated glass, and that there's 10 millimeter of air in between, another 4 millimeter glass, 10 millimeters of air, and another 6 millimeter laminated glass. So that's basically how you can tell. Either you could just tell by looking at it like we can, because we work with this stuff, or hopefully you can read it in the spacer, or you can send a picture to your local glazier and he might be able to help you figure it out, or it will say in between the glasses. For at least the last, I'd say 30 years, they've been writing the thickness inside the glass, Might just look like a bunch of numbers and letters, but it'll mean something for the people who work with this. So make sure you check all these things before you order your glass, and that'll help you potentially save a lot of money. All right, you learned something out of this? Comment down below if there's anything else you want to need or want to learn, or questions you might have. Until then, see you next time. Okie dokie. Bye bye now.